220-2000-606 LF4. The last voicemail from the dentist's waiting room. Take the link. Long form. Format. Last recording. Voicemail. The following voicemail was recovered from the voicemail system of Dr. Elena Marsh, DDS, at Marsh Dental Care, 440 Elm Street, Millhaven, Oregon. The voicemail was left on March 7, 2026, at 11:47 p.m. by an unknown caller. The call lasted 4 minutes and 12 seconds. The audio file is presented here as a transcript. Background noise has been annotated where relevant. Unknown. Hi. Hi. I'm calling Dr. Marsh's office. I was a patient there. I think I'm still a patient there. I had an appointment scheduled for, I think it was Tuesday, or maybe Thursday. I can't remember anymore. I'm calling because I need to cancel. Just like my Chectus, my grants, who survives, they live up, and should the trans show clo to it in the ring. I think it was Tuesday, or maybe Thursday. I can't remember anymore. I'm calling because I need to cancel, because I can't come back to the office. Not because of anything Dr. Marsh did. She was very nice. She was always very nice. It's just, I can't come back because the waiting room is wrong. I know how that sounds. Let me try to explain. I came in for my appointment it was a Tuesday. I'm sure it was a Tuesday. I checked in at the front desk. The receptionist, I think her name was Karen? Or Kathleen. She smiled and told me to have a seat in the waiting room. She said Dr. Marsh would be with me in about 15 minutes. Not unknown. So I sat down. There were, I think, 4 other people in the waiting room. An older woman reading a magazine. A man in a baseball cap looking at his phone. A mother with a child the child was drawing on a coloring sheet. And someone else. Someone I couldn't quite see. They were in the corner, in one of those chairs that's kind of behind the reception desk partition. I could see their shoes. Brown shoes. Unknown. I sat there for about 10 minutes. The older woman turned a page of her magazine. The man scrolled on his phone. The child was coloring. Everything was normal. Everything was completely normal. And then I noticed the magazines. Unknown. The magazines on the table next to me. They were dental magazines, like patient education pamphlets. But one of them was a magazine I had never seen before. It was called Waiting Room Monthly, and the cover showed a photograph of a waiting room, and the waiting room in the photograph was the waiting room I was sitting in, right now, at that moment. The same chairs, the same carpet, the same painting on the wall, the one with the sailboat. Unknown. I put the magazine down. I told myself it was a coincidence. Dental offices probably have similar furniture. The magazine was probably published by the furniture company. That made sense. That was a rational explanation. I took a breath, and I looked up. Unknown. The older woman was still reading. The man was still scrolling. The child was still coloring. But the person in the corner, The person with the brown shoes, they had moved. They were now sitting in the chair directly across from me. I hadn't heard them get up. I hadn't heard them walk. They were just there, now, facing me. Unknown. I couldn't see their face. The light in that corner it was like the light didn't quite reach. It was dim. But I could see their hands. They were holding a magazine. The same magazine. Waiting Room Monthly. And they were turning the pages. Slowly. Like they were reading. Unknown. I looked down at the magazine on the table next to me. It was still open to the cover. The photograph of the waiting room. But now, there was a person in the photograph. A person sitting in one of the chairs. The person was facing away from the camera. They were wearing a blue jacket. I was wearing a blue jacket. Unknown. I stood up. I walked to the front desk. Karen, or Kathleen. She wasn't there. The front desk was empty. The whole office was empty. The door to the exam rooms was closed. The hallway was dark. I was alone in the waiting room. Unknown. Except I wasn't. Because I could still hear the pages turning. The person in the corner was still turning pages. I didn't look at them. I walked to the front door. I pulled it. It was locked. I pushed the buzzer. Nothing happened. I pulled the door again. It opened. Unknown. I left. I walked to my car. I drove home. I'm calling now to cancel my appointment because I cannot come back. I don't know what was in that waiting room. I don't know who was sitting in that corner. But I know with absolute certainty that the magazine was not a coincidence. The photograph was not a coincidence. The person was not a coincidence. Dr. Elena Marsh reported this voicemail to the Millhaven Police Department on March 8th. The department conducted a welfare check at March Dental Care on March 9th. The office was found to be locked and unoccupied. The front desk contained standard dental patient education pamphlets. No magazine titled Waiting Room Monthly was found. The voicemail system log confirms the call originated from a local number. The number has been traced to a prepaid cell phone purchased at a pharmacy in Millhaven on February 14th, 2026. The phone was activated, but has not been used since the voicemail was left. Registry analysts have attempted to contact the caller. The phone remains inactive. No further calls have been received. The dental office continues to operate normally. Dr. Marsh reports no unusual occurrences in the waiting room. All 4 chairs are occupied by patients on a regular basis. None of them have brown shoes. Case file remains open.